I welcome back our dear Priyanana Devi Dasi, who's just come to bless us with her sweet association. And she does so much seva for our mission and always working with audio, video, our spiritual content, free distribution. She's always in that service mode and also very capable preacher in our mission. She knows our philosophy and is happy to teach and practice. We are student practitioners, and we learn and share as we go along. So, Srila Sridhar Maharaj was saying in one of his talks how the preachers are always getting protection through their preaching content. So we are acquainting ourselves with reality. Maybe someone can translate for Maharaj. So we are dealing with absolute reality, which is all the spiritual, what has an eternal absolute basis. The foundation of truth comes from the absolute consideration, absolute truth. There's absolute and relative considerations that we are dealing with and harmonizing in our lives in this world. We have the relative consideration. We're all in this world and identifying with the body and material life and society, but absolute reality and absolute truth and knowledge. We are soul, we are eternal. There's the understanding of suffering according to our karma, and how to live who we are, what is our purpose, higher understanding. We need to accommodate both in order to really be healthy and well-adjusted in this world. Just identifying with the relative consideration is not enough for a proper understanding of life and how to solve our suffering and how to live in this world. We need the absolute consideration, and that's where Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy, the teachings of our gurus, the Vedas, Krishna consciousness, that's where all these things come to our relief. And Srila Sridhar Maharaj compared it to disinfecting solutions. Disinfecting solution, like a disinfectant. So when, I have the exact quote here, that by repeating truth and higher consciousness and Krishna consciousness to others, you will generate truthful consciousness within yourself. So, with the help of this spiritual consciousness, Krishna consciousness, you will be able to do away with everything infectious by spreading and distributing the disinfecting substances. Be an agent of the disinfecting section who are throwing around the medicine to disinfect the infectious area. Be such an agent and thereby drive away infection from all around. If you go on in that way, then infection cannot approach you. So practicing and preaching, we are practicing, we are preaching and distributing what higher things, what absolute understanding has come to us by some grace, sharing that with others who are suffering in this world, don't know who they are and why they're suffering, and taking help of so many ways, not finding relief, like modern therapy and counseling is only addressing the material consideration of life, the surface, and not addressing the larger picture. Why are we here? Why are we suffering? Ultimately, we need to, Srila Sridhar says, our standard and our foundation is with the saner section, those who are sane. And that sanity he's referring to those who are acquainted with absolute truth and reality, absolute reality. So without that, you don't have a truly sane basis. If you're just identifying with the body and the material environment, the material world, you're only dealing with the furniture inside the house, not the foundation of the house. So you'll never get relief by trying to get partial help. I just have some notes here. So, yeah. So, it's necessary to, if we want to be truly healthy and well-adjusted, can't just focus on what is temporary, based on body identification and the constant changing, shifting nature of this world, and you will not find stability there. We meet so many friends, and we get so many visitors who want to know how to find fulfillment and solutions to their problems in life, and how and we try to share what we've learned about absolute knowledge and finding the solution, that we're eternal, part and parcel of the infinite. We are part and parcel of the Lord. Necessary to understand that. And this life is a very small part of our eternal journey. We're here suffering according to our karma. That's why we're suffering. We're suffering from misidentification with ourselves and where we are in retrospect, in connection with God. Necessary to understand that. Our suffering has cause and purpose, and my real identity is not dependent on my present sufferings, and without higher shelter, there's no real spiritual anchor So, we see with the teachings of the Srimad Bhagavatam teaching us that adjust ourselves with absolute reality. That will be the anchor that, without understanding karma, we won't understand why we're getting these reactions from our previous actions and how to solve that in the larger picture. And, Gurudev Srila Bhakti Sundar Govindadev Goswami Maharaj says, like, if you cannot accept the higher arrangement from above, then you will not get peace. Tate mukam pam shushamikshamana. That with susamiksha, without understanding what is what and what is proper adjustment and a proper assessment of our environment, we have to consider the absolute consideration. So we cannot help others without, or help ourselves without having some foundational basis to understanding reality. So, Srila Sridhar Maharaj says, relative adjustment without connection to the absolute is unstable. Only the absolute can harmonize all the relative positions. So, we have to understand surrender and service and how to practice. And while we do that, we can help others in this way. We don't have to be perfect masters. We don't have to be fully realized souls to help others. You can take up this service of disinfecting the environment, and you will be disinfected. So everyone can make some contribution to solving the suffering in our material world. So Srila Sridhar Maharaj says, the standard is not with the insane, but the saner section. The insanity, he considers identifying with the body as me. That is not me. Srila Gurudev said, when we leave this body, at any time, can happen at any moment, we will see, first of all, that is not me. That is my temporary covering, lifeless on the ground, and I'm still alive because I'm Atma, I'm soul. And if the Atma is in this body and just chasing temporary pleasures, living our relative lives, it's incomplete and suffering from misunderstanding ourselves. So necessary to go to the root and find the solution to real suffering and take that truth for ourselves and give it to others as well. So without the absolute standard, the relative situation and mind cannot be truly sane. And Srila Sridhar Maharaj said, we cannot judge what is good or unhealthy or sane by the standards of those who are spiritually unconscious. So we are not taking taking our help from the relative consideration. And Srila Sridhar is saying our anchor is taking guidance from who is truly conscious and taking our foundation. The absolute must be our measuring stick, not the conditioned relative plane. So awaken the soul. Material relative position is not a proper place for justice and harmony. It's the plane of exploitation. Real harmony is in the absolute, and we can harmonize both. I am not this body, I am Atma. So we are in this relative body, we are taking care so we can practice and find our true meaning in life. So Srila Sridhar Maharaj says there's only one necessity, and that is the ultimate necessity he's referring to, the absolute necessity, and that is Krishna conception, God consciousness. And we can see goodness in all other spiritual conceptions. We can appreciate so many things that are coming from other philosophies and understandings, and understand there's gradation everywhere and within everything. But by some grace we've come in touch with this Krishna conception from our divine masters, and the object is divine love and service in divine love. And Srila Sridhar Maharaj says, prema will help us more intensely to engage in service, to serve and to get the remuneration as prema. Prema, divine love. The nature of prema is that it will excite us more and more for service. It will move in a circular way. What we receive as remuneration will be the tendency to produce more service for the object of our reverence. That is prema. Prema is not a separate thing from service, but it will help us more and more towards that service. So it's continuous, it's dynamic. Such a stage will never come where I feel I've acquired prem, now I am like a king or queen and I shall enjoy it and there's no more necessity. That will never come. But prema will promote the quality of our service, and love will actuate us more and more towards the service of the object of our love. So service will acquire prema, and prema will induce us to serve. That is our object of life. That's Srila Sridhar Maharaj speaking, quoted from Sermons of the Guardian of Devotion. So how to help others? We help ourselves, we help others at the same time. We are student practitioners. We practice what we preach. Disinfecting ourselves and our environment. The sadhus are always doing that wherever they go. They're disinfecting everything wherever they go because they are disinfected themselves and spreading disinfection through spreading truth. And that's the way to true wellness, healthy living, being well adjusted, must be the absolute and the relative combined. Otherwise, it's ineffective and will make people more crazy. If it's only relative help, you're just perpetuating the mundane illusion, the impartial, partial understanding of life, not seeing the big picture. So, kind of bit off more than I can chew with this subject. It's a very one of Srila Sridhar Maharaj's specialties, our grandfather Guru Maharaj, to speak about the absolute and the relative considerations. It's necessary to have a full grasp of what that means if you're trying to explain that in kind of rambling, but wanting to illustrate that point, that we need to understand both things in order to be healthy, in order to be well ourselves, and to help others be healthy. We want to always, we don't want to see anyone suffer. We want to help everyone as possible by us, and we can do that even in a small way. But we must have our own understanding to be able to give understanding to others. As Gurudev would always say, charity begins at home. Jai Guru Gauranga, Radha Govinda Giridhari Ju Ki Jai. First we must know who we are, what we are doing, where we are going, what is good, how to solve suffering. Then we can help others. So we can cultivate that solution for ourselves and share that with others as we go along. So we do our best. Gurudev say, maybe we have $5, but we make our business with $5. Maybe we have a little bit of Krishna consciousness, but we can use that little bit to share and help others. And that will be substantial. That will be what we can work with realistically. So we are very thankful. It's actually Thanksgiving today in America. And our Australian Jainitai is cooking today. He wants to cook something in the spirit of Thanksgiving. And we will do that vegetarian style. Tofu, turkey. And pumpkin pie and sweet potatoes. We don't have marshmallows, but we can come up with something else. But on this day, so many turkeys have lost their lives. That's always been my takeaway from Thanksgiving. Why so many turkeys have to die. And it reminds me we're in the plane of exploitation. And be thankful we know better. I'm thankful we have a solution. We have a solution to this situation in the plane of exploitation. So we thank our lucky stars and the blessings of our divine masters who's given us this absolute understanding, the divine reality, divine absolute truth, the disinfecting solution in our lives. We're so grateful and thankful for that. Jai Om Vishnu Pad Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Om Vishnu Pad Bhakti Rakhak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada Ki Jai. Shri Rupanuga Guru Varga Ki Jai. Srila Bhakti Sevan Rishikesh Maharaj Ki Jai. Srila Bhakti Sudhir Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Srila Bhakti Bhimala Vadit Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Acharya Vrinda Ki Jai. All the assembled devotees Ki Jai. All the world devotees Ki Jai. Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande. Jai Gurudev. Okay.
Для того, чтобы быть счастливым в этом мире, нужно многих кого убить.
To be happy in this world, you need to do it on the expense of others. You need to kill somebody.
Yeah. As Srila Prabhupada A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada said, this world is not a place for proper ladies and gentlemen. The plane of exploitation is actually very brutal. It's a place for brutes. And consumerism, exploitation is very nasty. But that's what's making the world go round. But we have chosen the happy solution to that, spending our time and our energy for that, and finding higher ground and higher selves, taking higher help.